I think there's a misconception that dressing mature means being boring and unadventurous. And by dressing mature, I don't mean like this video is only for over 40s. You can be 16 and dress maturely. I've made an effort to make my style more mature over the past few years, and I don't think it's made me boring and unadventurous at all. In fact, I think I'm dressing better than ever. I feel comfortable in what I'm wearing, and I often get compliments on my style. And I've achieved this by following a few simple guidelines when I'm shopping for something new or putting an outfit together. They're not rules, just guidelines, and so today I thought I'd share them with you in case you're looking to dress a bit more maturely without losing your personality and looking boring. Invest in quality footwear. One of my biggest lessons over the past few years is just how much of a difference a quality pair of shoes can make to the maturity of your outfit. Some poorly made, cheap shoes can be spotted from a mile off, even by those who aren't experts in footwear, and they tend to look quite tacky, which can really ruin an entire outfit. Not only will investing in quality shoes make you look more mature, but also the mindset of knowing you're looking for something better made really opens your options up. You can start looking into unique materials and construction. You can look at boutique brands who have more exciting designs than you might find on the high street. Of course, it's going to be more noticeable on things like boots and leather shoes. For example, my Derby boot game has had a clear trajectory over the years. I went from no-name boots to Doc Martens to Solivers, and I've recently got the Lanx Timperley boots, which are just peak. I'm not saying you should go out and buy the most expensive shoes, that would be silly, because price does not always equal quality. But just going from no name to Doc Martens was a gigantic step and made a big difference. Whatever style you're into, whether that be boots or sneakers, I'd recommend not just going out and buying the cheapest ones possible. Consider investing in something better made. It'll make a world of difference in not only upping the maturity of your outfit, but adding some excitement as well. Embrace different fits. I think the easiest way to look boring when you're trying to dress mature is to assume everything needs to be close fitting. For some reason, many people's perception of a well-dressed guy is apparently one who has form-fitting clothes that are only suitable for the office. And I'm not bashing that, it can of course look great, but it's not the only route. Don't think you need a perfectly tailored and structured suit to look mature. In my opinion, the best dressed guys who look mature without being boring are often mixing and matching different cuts and fits. Aaron Levine is a great example of this. For tailoring, he goes for stuff that is a bit softer, like unlined and unstructured blazers, or maybe something that's a bit more relaxed and drapes over his body, rather than something that is too stuffy and fitted. He often favours roomier trousers that are wide at the leg and sit higher at the waist, and he'll also mix and match different fits like we talked about. For example, with something more fitted on bottom and relaxed on top, or vice versa. He's really got that mature, effortless, well-dressed style locked down, and a big part of that is by playing around with different fits and cuts, among other things. And although he looks really mature, you don't hear many people saying that his style looks boring. Incorporate trends, but lean towards classics. I know, people are sick and tired of hearing this. Just wear classics is a bit of a cop-out. It's easy to just say it and not give much context. Classics are classic for a reason. Think leather derbies, loafers, khakis, crisp shirts, white tees, navy blazers. It's always a good idea to lean towards these classic pieces when building an outfit, but the way to ensure they don't look boring is to sprinkle in a bit of personality. Nick Wooster is one of the best at doing this in my opinion. His favourite is to stay pretty middle of the line and classic up top, then really push the boat out and have a bit more fun on the lower half. That could be anything from an actual item that's trending, something that's a twist on a classic, or something that he just likes because it speaks to him. He's probably a bit of an extreme example because he does play with the casual element to the max, and that's no surprise, he's a fashion design consultant after all. But we don't all have to do this, it's just a blueprint for how to build outfits and have that sophistication about them without looking tired and boring. We're definitely seeing this play out in real life at the moment with the whole wrong shoe theory trend, with a lot of people going classic and smart on feet, and then much more casual above. Gives off a different look, but it's the same formula. Mostly classic pieces with a sprinkle of something different to keep it exciting and elevated. Don't be afraid of texture and colour. So this follows on quite nicely from the last point, because it's usually a good idea to keep those classic pieces a more neutral colour in my opinion. Think your blacks, browns, greys, beiges. For the most part, sticking to those neutrals is going to go far in making you look more mature. But it can look a little bit boring and corporate. This is where the inclusion of colour, texture and patterns comes into play. Outfits don't have to look harmless to be mature, you know? Like, they don't all need to be smooth, patternless greys as to not offend anyone. I always think the best dressed guys have a bit of fun in their outfits. For example, add in something voluminous and tactile like fleece. Or perhaps a bit of plaid or check or even camo pattern. Maybe a hit of colour. It doesn't even have to be on your clothing, it could be an accessory. And it doesn't need to pop and take over your whole outfit. It could be subtle. Maybe you're even taking colour away by wearing something faded like a vintage t-shirt. Sometimes those imperfections give an outfit the authenticity and personality it needs, rather than perfection, which can look a little bit boring. Use colour, texture and pattern to energise an outfit, not overwhelm it. This will absolutely allow you to dress more mature while still keeping things exciting. Focus on better materials. This is similar to my very first point about quality footwear, but let's expand it out to the whole outfit. While it's easy to look mature on paper, let's take a typical suit and shirt for example, the difference between one that is made with cheap material and one that is made with quality material is absolutely huge. The majority of suits and shirts these days seem to be made of mainly polyester because it's stretchy, easy to maintain and quite comfortable. However, they all have that same and boring look to them. When you start upgrading to suits made of wool and shirts made of cotton or linen, for example, not only will it feel better on body, making you more confident, but it will just look so much better as well. There's way more visual appeal to quality made materials. There's a texture and depth there that just can't be replicated by synthetics sometimes. And the same can be said about other things as well, such as cheap versus expensive denim. Going from a pair of H&M jeans to some Levi's is massive. Then going from Levi's to some Japanese selvage is even bigger, and it's immediately noticeable. Leather is another one where the benefits are really obvious between a cheap leather and a carefully made one. You could ignore everything else in today's video, keep your style exactly the same, but just focus on upgrading the materials, and it would go a long way in allowing you to dress maturely without looking run-of-the-mill and boring. So there's everything I've done to try and elevate my style into something a bit more mature without being boring and losing my personality. I appreciate this might not be for everyone, so I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Leave them in the comments below. But anyway, that's all I have for you today. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Ta-ra.